Welcome to Ag Shorts. I'm Calen. With me is my father, Brandon. And today we're going to ask, do you trim the feet on cows?
Hmm. Good
Or do you
question.
dare? That's the next question.
Well, I mean, you can. I mean, it depends on what happens. If, um, there's some videos your mom loves to watch.
I've seen them too. They're very interesting, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, it's getting to the weird point with her. But this guy, I think he's either in Ireland, Scotland, UK, somewhere in the UK. Anyway, he's really good with mostly dairy cattle. But we seldom have issues like that. Any issues that we have with feet are generally a genetic problem, to be quite frank with you. And that's one of the drawbacks of
White
our
Angus.
breed is there's some feet issues there. And so
Yeah.
um, generally you call them. If it's bad enough and you're not at the time, all of a sudden you got a cow that's starting to grow some feet out and she's got a calf with her, you try to get her as comfortable as possible. And um, you can trim those tips up a little bit so they're you get kind of what is a scissor toe, like the two toes kind of one will cross the other one, and grow out long. Of course, feed can do that, can cause feed issues. If you're heavily feeding like steers, or some people run into that with their seed stock bulls for sale, those yearling bulls. They'll try to get some really good weight on them quickly, and they'll overfeed and they'll cause almost like a founder issue. So
Right.
anyway, we generally don't need to. And I wish I could find them, but we used to have a pair of hoof trimmers for oxen, and
Were they
yeah, they.
uh were they up in the kitchen?
Oh God, no, no. These were
Oh,
long
okay.
handled where you could get away. They're
I was gonna say, I mean, I
probably had
couldn't.
3 foot handles on them, but they had a claw. You think of a pair of scissors that move like this. These were at a 90-degree angle, and then you would just get up to the front and nip them like.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
and
Hmm.
yeah, and so they're like anything else. There's perfusion as there should be, lots of blood flow through those hooves, and the outer side is keratin and things like that. But you don't want to get too deep, but you go slow. And that guy that your mom watches, is I've watched a few of those. It's like very interesting and amazing. The guy's very knowledgeable, and what he does puts some boots. Basically, they're not
Yeah.
boots necessarily, but they're
They're like almost like
soles on.
rubberized slippers, or yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, glued soles on
and
the bottom of their
yeah, he's
feet.
not got a one size fits all. He does a number of different things based on whatever that cow needs. So
Yeah.
generally we don't. Generally we cull those cows, but we'll do what we need to do to kind of get them through and comfortable till we can get them culled if they um, have a calf on them. And then you kind of keep an eye on that calf and make sure you don't keep them as a replacement heifer.
Well,
They
and
might be okay, but don't put money into something that is a maybe.
I would also say that the one thing he does with 2 minutes left is he's dealing with dairy cattle on like cement pads and stuff like
Right.
that in or cobblestone in England in a different environment. Ours is a much
Yes.
drier environment. We're not having abscesses like he does.
Right.
We have mostly toe growth. It's not
Right.
breaking off like it should or trimming itself naturally. And that's what we deal with. So a little bit different. And that's why I would say we don't necessarily trim. We just we like, okay, that's fine, let them live out the necessary production life to a certain point. It might be the end of the season, or we
Right.
just keep an eye on them and it goes a couple years, and then eventually we see it might be hindering them in some sort of fashion. So then we go, okay, now it's time to be cold. It just depends on the situation and what's going on.
Yeah, and our sandy soil that we have here is obviously much softer, and it's
Right.
not soft ground, but it's not like it's cement where the cement doesn't give and the hoof does. You got some hoof movement through here, but it's abrasive enough too, even though it's sandy soil. A lot of times, and you'll see it in our horses, especially where they break over on the front of the hoof, it'll get flat and like it should. Like, instead of breaking off, it just wears off. And you see the cow's the same way. You got a really good set of feet on a cow, and you'll see that those tips of those hooves they're not wore down, but they're just abrased down a little bit and rounded. So it's a whole lot different environment for them to walk on here than it is in a dairy.
And that's us with trimming feet on cows.